We all think of ARAM as that game mode that we just play for fun. Most players who take League of Legends a bit more seriously would see playing ARAM as a waste of time. And who could blame them? Who wants to play with all these little furry poros around? But what I'm going to talk about in this video is how we can specifically use ARAM to improve at League of Legends, whether it be normal or ranked games. I'll just say that this practice isn't perfect and can't replace the practice you would get from playing hundreds of Summoner Rift games, but you'll be surprised on what you can learn by mixing in a few ARAM games into your day. So the first way that you can use ARAM to become a better League of Legends player is the fact that ARAM forces you to increase your champion pool. So you join an ARAM game, you get a random champion. Sometimes it's a champion you've never played before, sometimes it's a champion you hate, sometimes it's a champion you're scared of playing. All three of these scenarios are good. If you want to gain the most from your ARAM games, if you want to get some practice in, you want to play these champions that you're scared to play, that you don't want to play, or that you haven't played before. If you're a Lucian main and you happen to get Lucian in ARAM, do not play the Lucian, okay? Don't take the bait. If I'm a Lucian main and I get Lucian, I want to trade with a champion I'm not very familiar with, or I want to use my rerolls to get a champion I don't really want to play, because it's going to force me to use them, and then your champion pool will increase. Check out this Talia game. I was scared of playing Talia, and I felt like I wouldn't enjoy playing her as a champion without ever even trying her, but when I rolled her in ARAM and was forced to play her, I found out that I really enjoyed playing her. Her playstyle's so cool, it's like so active. I like active things, and now that I've played her once, only one time, I feel comfortable to bring her into Summoner's Rift. So it's a champion who I may have never considered playing in my life and has now become a part of my champion pool because I want to play her again based on that one experience I had in ARAM. The other advantage of playing a champion that you're scared to play, that you don't want to play, or you haven't played before, is that once you've played that champion, you now know how to deal with that champion a little bit better. If you've never played Kai'Sa before, and then you play her in ARAM, by the end of that game you'll have a general idea of what she does. So if you ever encounter her in Summoner's Rift again, you know what you're looking for and you can better deal with her. The second way that you can use ARAM to improve your League of Legends skills is the fact that ARAM gives you immediate team fighting practice, and the games are shorter, so shorter games equals more practice. Allow me to explain. With ARAM you bypass the laning phase, you bypass the jungling, everything is skipped, you just get into the nice action of it and you're just team fighting straight away. So if you ever want to practice team fighting, ARAM is a nice little specialized team fighting battleground where you can practice hardcore. And sure, the practice isn't perfect because you may have a team comp that's bad at dealing with the enemy's team comp, but that's not too important. You will still get a lot of opportunities and situations to practice team fighting with the champion that you have. Now the last way you can use ARAM to help you become a better League of Legends player is when you're playing ARAM and you're constantly team fighting all the time, it teaches you how to build items for team fights and how to skill build for team fights. It gives you direct practice for that in a concentrated fashion. Just as you're team fighting all the time, you're forced to itemize and to customize your skill build in a way that's ready for team fighting. If this sounds confusing, allow me to explain. So, when you're playing on Summoner's Rift, if you're playing a normal game or if you're playing a ranked game, you first have to build for the lane, or you have to build for the jungle, and that means your build will be slightly different. And not only that, you could be building to be a split pusher, or you could be building to be a team fighter, or you could be building to be a 1v1 duelist. All of those builds will be different. When you play ARAM, there's going to be team fights only, so you're forced. It's like forcing you to learn how to build for team fights. You can use this as an opportunity. Use it for specialized training. A quick example of this is if you're a Twisted Fate, instead of going for, let's say, a Ludens first, you could skip that and go straight for a Zhonya's. So maybe you could ulti in and then Zhonya's. That's one example, not the best example, but your build will change when it's team fighting based. Now with the skill builds, Some people are probably watching this wondering, but aren't your skill builds the same all the time? Like, don't you just look up OPGG or a strategy guide and just copy the build and it will be an optimal build for every situation? Not really. Because if you look at Thresh in particular, Thresh, when you're playing on Summoner's Rift, you get 3 points into Flay. That's usually just to give you some laning presence, so you're stronger in fights. But what does Thresh really want to do? He wants to max his Q first, his hook. Because the more hooks you can throw, the better. And then you can get more picks and all that kind of thing. So if I was playing Thresh in ARAM, and it's just team fighting, I'm gonna max my Q first, and then I'll max my Flay. That's what I'd personally do, and it doesn't matter if you would max your Flay first. You have an argument for that, because if you get into a fight and you Flay more than one person, the increased damage you're getting on Flay will hit everyone, so you're even better in a team fight. But the point is, there are differences, so you have to use your decision making to see and to notice that in team fighting it can be a bit different, and in Summoner's Rift it's a bit different. So playing ARAM gives you specialized training for team fights, how to build in team fights, both items and your skill build, and I think that's very important. The last thing on this point is, how do you help your team out? Are you an Alistair against lots of AoE and you need to build a locket? Are you against a crazy poke comp and you need more heals, so maybe you get a redemption? Are you against poke and don't have any hard engage? You might need to build a Righteous Glory or Shirelias. So when you're playing ARAM, you're forced to make these decisions, which are the same decisions you will need to make in ranked or normal games. Only here you get more specialized training because you are right into the action. You don't need to go through LamixFace first. That's the key point here. That's why I think this is really good to slip into your practice of all your other Summoner Rift games. So my friends, if your aim is to improve in ranked, don't let it be that you play more ARAM games than playing ranked games, because then you're just escaping the ranked games. But you can play a few ARAM games to assist in your learning. It's also really good to throw in some ARAM games when you're feeling tilted or burnt out in your ranked climbing. A quick last mention, guys, is that I've been doing some weird videos on Facebook, some of which I've shared on YouTube, so check that out if you want to. Thanks for joining me in this video, guys, and I wish you all the best in the new ranked season. But let's face it, if you come across me, I'm gonna crush you. You're gonna get crushed. See ya, guys. Take care. Grizzly bear. Yeah, that rhymed.